and trembles, your will be done. A question like thunder rolls over the earth. Isn't anything too hard?
25 years between promise and fulfillment. How does faith survive that kind of waiting? Welcome back to Come Listen With Me. I'm Ricky Black, aka Elder Eleazar, and this is our daily reading for Wednesday, February 25th of our ongoing 2026 Come Follow Me study of the Old Testament. Now, before we start, let's begin with a quick prayer. Our Father in heaven, we are thankful for this day and the joy that comes when thy promises are fulfilled. As we read about the miraculous birth of Isaac and Abraham's continued struggles with fear, help us to trust thy timing even when decades pass. And remember us that thou art always faithful, even when we falter. In the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, amen. Okay, we have a little to read, a lot to ponder, and a bit to discuss, so let's jump right in. Today's reading is going to be Genesis chapter 20, as well as the first 7 verses of chapter 21. And so what are we reading about today? Well, it's about how Abraham repeats an old failure with Abimelech. And then we get this whiplash, right, where God goes along and fulfills the long-awaited promise, right? Isaac is finally born. And the chapter pairing is very intentional, right? Because we have covenant history, which includes both relapses as well as fulfillment of miracles. And since we want to read with intention, a couple of questions to keep in mind. So why do you think Abraham repeated his earlier mistake, right? Claiming Sarah as his sister. And what does this teach about human weakness? How did Abraham's and Sarah's faith grow during the 25-year wait between promise and fulfillment? And what impossible promise has God fulfilled in your life? And how did you respond? I think it's an important one to think about while I read this. Okay. So the first book of Moses, called Genesis chapter 20. Abimelech desires Sarah, who is preserved by the Lord. Abraham prays for Abimelech, and the Lord blesses him and his household. And Abraham journeyed from thence toward the south country, and dwelled between Kadesh and Shur, and sojourned into Gerar. And Abraham said of Sarah his wife, She is my sister. And Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night, and said to him, Behold, thou art but a dead man, for the woman which thou hast taken, for she is a man's wife. But Abimelech had not come near her. And he said, Lord, wilt thou slay also a righteous nation? She said not unto me, She is my sister. And she, even she herself, said, He is my brother. In the integrity of my heart, and the innocency of my hands, have I done this. And God said to him in a dream, Yea, I know that thou didst this in the integrity of thy heart, for I also withheld thee from sinning against me. Therefore suffered I thee not to touch her. Now therefore restore the man his wife, for he is a prophet, and he shall pray for thee, and thou shalt live. And if thou restore her not, know thou that thou shalt surely die, thou and all that are thine. Therefore Abimelech rose early in the morning, and called all the servants, and told all these things in their ears, and the men were sore afraid. Then Abimelech called Abraham, and said unto him, What hast thou done unto us? And what have I offended thee, that thou hast brought on me and my kingdom a great sin? Thou hast done deeds unto me that ought not be done. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, What sawest thou, that thou hast done this thing? And Abraham said, Because I thought, surely the fear of God is not in this place, and they will slay me for my wife's sake. And yet indeed she is my sister, she is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. And it came to pass, when God caused me to wander from my father's house, that I said unto her, This is thy kindness which thou shalt show unto me. At every place whither we shall come, say of me, He is my brother. And Abimelech took sheep and oxen and men servants and women servants, and gave them unto Abraham, and restored him Sarah his wife. And Abimelech said, Behold, my land is before thee, dwell where it pleaseth thee. And unto Sarah he said, Behold, I have given thy brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Behold, he is to thee a covering of the eyes, unto all that are with thee, and with all other. Thus she was reproved. So Abraham prayed unto God, and God healed Abimelech and his wife and his maidservants, and they bare children. For the Lord had fast closed up all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. In chapter 21, Sarah bears Isaac. He is circumcised. Hagar and her son are cast out of Abraham's household. The Lord saves Hagar and Ishmael. Abraham and Abimelech deal honorably with each other. And the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which God had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac 8 days old, as God had commanded him. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born unto him. And Sarah said, God hath made me to laugh, so that all that hear will laugh with me. And she said, Who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah should have given children suck? For I have borne him a son in his old age. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. And that's our reading for today. So, these verses, they're really a somber cover, right? God's faithfulness doesn't depend on never slipping, right? Which is good, because I know I slip a lot. Don't intend to, but it happens, right? It all just depends on his covenant commitment, right? Abraham fears a lot of different things happening, right? The same old fears, they resurface, yet the promise that was given to him still arrives. Now, that doesn't excuse his weakness. It exposes, though, how God can work with real people while still moving his purpose forward, right? And then we see Isaac's birth, and that reframes the entire wait, right? It's been 25 years, but it's finally there. But it does let us know that delays are not denials. And sometimes through the workshop where faith is truly forged, right? The faith comes before the miracle. And so my big takeaway from this is that the same life can contain repeated flaws as well as fulfilled promises, right? God is not surprised by that first bit of our flaws, and he is not blocked from giving us blessings anyway. So no matter how flawed you feel, God still loves you. God's still going to bless you. Just keep moving forward one day at a time, right? Progress, not perfection. So let me know what your thoughts were, what you got out of this. Throw them into the comments. Let's share them. Let's keep the conversation going so we can all learn from each other. And with that, I'll see you again here tomorrow as we continue our reading of the Old Testament. And until then, I thank you for being here. I appreciate you, and I'm grateful for the precious time that you've chosen to come listen with me.
Till mercy is one, perchance there are 10. A prayer that bleeds, justice and kindness weigh in the deeds. Lot and his daughter step out through the night, angels like lightning, hands full of light. We learn to kneel when the world seems charred, and whisper the question, is anything too hard? Dust in our hair, but prayer in our hands. You hold the scales of broken land. Is anything too hard for the Lord? You pull a family from the storm. You set a